Thank you for tuning in with Enchantress. That's me, the Babbler. That's me on this evolutionary, revolutionary ride that's happening at this time. So I'm just gonna go win. Because we're going in for our win. It's gonna give us a little tail spin. So I've been having like polarities in mind and interesting conversations all day, starting from the crack of dawn. Seriously, in regards to just this energy, of position, stance. Like each of you, whomever you are, as you come in here, oh, synchronistic, be your land, right? Like there's no telling what you're going to comprehend, but that's the leveling of your own evolution, right? And that's what this here is, this revolution of learning forever, a student of life. And it's just like, okay, these polarities in astrology, which is the topic of degree of diving in and exploring and having these expansive moments of further insight into core relationships that are responsible for development of things, and how when paired and coupled, right, like the polar opposite signs in astrology, right, the polar opposite signs in astrology, I've always looked at with a like claircognizance, like knowing, whether I comprehended that knowing or not, but wow, for there is greatness to be learned from all of this and the polarities of something, and learning it from my own dynamic of absorbing the Western astrology sign of Sagittarius and having the experiences with Sagittarius's polar opposite, which is Gemini, right? In my lifetime experience to really come to the evolution that even I am in now, even having a child that is my polar opposite in both Western and Vedic astrology, and the challenges that opposites can bring to the forefront, but knowing that the benefit of the harmonizing of the polarities when they do is monumental too. And it's just like, oh, okay, you know what I'm saying? Because one of the great lessons of even just understanding the development of my relationships and my experiences with my polar opposite sign in Western astrology, which is Sagittarius, and so my polar opposite is Gemini, it was befitting that my daughter is a Gemini. Before my daughter was born, I had called Gemini my arch nemesis, like in some kind of way, even though I've had good relationships with Geminis too, in terms of friendship too. I'm not knocking the whole entire astrological sign of it, but just based off of my own childhood and growing into my own adulthood experience and the challenges, and then also the relationship with a psychopath that I had that was going to be the death of me. Freaking psycho, we reference him as, right? Who, if I would have stayed, would have killed me. You know what I'm saying? And just swearing off the sign altogether in dating world. I'm like, if you tell me you're a Gemini, nope. Right? And the other sign for, anyway. So, so, and then in Vedic astrology, I am a Scorpio, right? And in Vedic astrology, my daughter is a Taurus, which is also polar opposite. So, wait, I wrote them down because when I be talking and stuff like that, I be forgetting, and I have those lapses of like, what was I saying when I be talking like that? So I'm trying to be a little bit more, yeah, Taurus and Scorpio, they're polar opposites too. And so the dualities of that kind of rawness, you know, of challenge that is invoked, and the benefit, the greatness of these two elements, these two energies, learning from one another, from their experience, right? It it's it's revolutionary. It's evolutionary. It's it's beneficial to the quantum evolution happening here as a collective consciousness and evolutionists, solutionists, right? And the harmonizing like of these two energies, and really what that does and what that brings, and how that is like dynamic in the sense, like, you know what I mean? Like when you put the two together and you really understand their strengths and understand their weaknesses, and then building the bridge of this balance in between, like, you know what I mean? Using the logic to understand the insights that come from within yourself, from your higher self, right? And applying these things into the physical world. This is what the polar opposites in energy, in, you know, in astrology do for one another. You know, a lot of people like to romanticize it and say, oh, you know, because um, you date your polar opposite, you have a friendship with your polar opposite, you have a love-hate relationship with your polar opposite. They can trigger you in ways that can get under your skin, that others can't really invoke in you unless you allow them to. You get what I'm saying? So like it's like a triggering effect. So, you know, and remember, we're more than one sign when I speak about astrology and stuff like that. I know I just kind of went in, but hello, right? So hi, welcome, Babblers Eye. So you know, so it's, I infuse at this time, although there's so many forms of astrology, please do know that there's numerous astrological components and different chapters of messages that if you do your research, you find where you are being naturally guided to. So for me, at this conjecture, I'm saying, right, moment in time in my position and place in my own evolution, I infuse both Western and, you know, Vedic astrology concepts into my own personalization of understanding myself in those placements, in those signs, and how it really applies, you know, in certain kind of dynamics and things like that. But yeah, so really being so fascinated as a young child with understanding that my polar opposite, Gemini, I have so many issues with, even from as young as elementary school. I was fascinated by the phenomena because at that time I was already into astrology too, and I understood it from a polar opposite dynamic too, that whenever someone I would guess, I'd be like, you're a Gemini, I know you are, like ahead of time, like, you know what I mean? And just the challenge of that pairing, right? So, you know, so how do we incorporate with understanding the important relationships or experiences that we have had with others that have been our polar opposite in astrology, whether it be lover, friend, parent, sibling, whatever. It's a significant person who it's challenging, and you just so happen to be polar opposites too in astrology, right? So this like fascination has never died out. So like, and so I've raised, like, my daughter's gonna be 21 right, next week and stuff. So she is fully raised with this kind of like lifestyle mindset of evolution, from Jump Street, so it's a different kind of dynamic for she and her own personal evolution and experience. So communication has always been key in the dynamics of our relationship personally, just from understanding the dynamics of this gonna be challenging, and trust me it is, because she and I be like this. I wanna beat you too, you know, but you know that's my baby too, so you get what I'm saying, like, you know, challenging aspects, but if you're here, you're an evolutionist. So that means you're a solutionist. You're not about being stuck somewhere that you don't need to be. And if you find yourself stuck anywhere that you don't need to be, you're so driven and divinely led, guided, and protected to steer synchronistically to where you just end up or need to put into play or receive the assistance, the divine guidance in some kind of way to maneuver you into the path that is righteous for you. If you stray off in some kind of way, bringing you back to center in every kind of way, because diverted is not your way. Awake in every kind of way, woke and spoke. And you're on your evolutionary journey and you're all about that life, about improving. So if you're improving, that means you're not stuck on stupid. You're not over here like wanting shit to go down the way you think it should go down, even if you're right. Like it's not about that kind of fight. It's not about being right. It's not. Like if you're still so caught up and busy with I need to be right about this and prove yourself, then you still have a lot more healing to do, and that's cool too. This channel is for that too, to heal through, feel through, deal through, so we can move through, rise up. That's what's up, right? So, anywho, so I just find the polarity dynamic fascinating, and so in that fascinating aspect of thought, I, as a Sagittarius, right, leading sun there, right, and my positivity for wanting a solution, or I want to understand things for a solution, right? I want to know how we can make this right, right? How can, just because something is a challenge doesn't mean that it shouldn't be around each other. No, maybe it needs to be. Maybe that's the present you see. And so there's the dynamic of the evolution of you and I who meet here at this time on this evolutionary ride, wanting and working towards the wholeness of your being that leads you to do the right motherfucking thing. And so you're presented with experiences that, although daunting and grueling certain things can be and challenging for real, you're not exempt from these things. None is exempt from freaking trials and tribulations, the challenges, the mountains that we all must motherfucking climb. Are you kidding me? The phoenix must rise. That means you must die. Somebody dies. Die every day. Have to. Right? So these are the people I'm addressing. Even though I could feel the energies of other kind of energies and all that kind of stuff, that's what's up. Eat the fucking mana, eat the fucking mana, eat the fucking mana. Right? So I would have made a good lawyer, but I didn't want to do all that shit. I was like, listen, give me the argument, give me the information. We gonna investigate this shit. Who better than Scooby-Doo up in here, the Scooby-Doo generation and fucking Inspector Gadget kind of fucking kids. We get to the bottom and the root of investigating, because we didn't have the internet back then. So all we had to do was we had to go figure it out. I don't know how I found out most of the information that I did. I still, like, there's certain, like, you know, like, as deep as my memory goes and as good as it can be in extracting information in Akashic library and all this kind of things, Like there's certain pockets of stuff I'm like, where did I get that? Like, and all I could think of is my grandmother's library. Like my grandmother's library had everything. I don't know. I was just going to the basement because this is the basement. And everybody's always creeped out about the basement. Like sometimes I would have other kids cut school, and like especially like on Halloween, and like this is like in junior high school, like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. The cut party was in my house, but it wasn't to like do anything like party and be all like overly sexual or anything. We would get school to go to my basement because it was spooky, and do the Ouija board and conjure whatever, and then run to motherfucking church because we were so frightened by the experience. Right. So, anyways, right. So this library had everything. I don't know. So I was like, go to the shelf. Oh, that's exactly what I was looking for. How did you know? Answers. I don't know, but that's the explanation of my storyline there. So, in a lot of things, and this is before, you know, because I'm an 80s baby, so there we go, right? And anyways, so, and then, but I did have early on access to computers, which is pretty interesting because, you know, my dad's like, you know, computer engineer, and my uncle was into computers too. And so I had, which is why like I type 1,000 words per minute, second. I navigate systems pretty motherfucking fast, but and I used to be so much better with the like inner technology of stuff just naturally without understanding what the fuck I was doing. I just got through, and I can learn a system if I have to, like, you know what I mean. But it's not my like interest. So like, you know, and I don't know if it's because of the influence in my life and just how much computers have been so important to the men in my influence, and how like it's computers is everything. Like you build apart, take apart, like, you know, all this kind of structure stuff, and hey, sit down and want to learn. And I'm like, no, thank you. Like, you know, maybe that's why my resistance and stuff like that. But yeah, I use technology very simply, and I like programs that are very simple and basic, and cute for me for whatever reason I needed to use it and stuff like that. But anyways, that's going way off topic. So hold on one second. Yeah. But yeah, so I realized I'm on a time limit here, so I can't linger too long in babbles, but this will be a continuation and stuff like that about the polarities of the signs and how beneficial it can be to you in your current alignment and evolution too, to realize that if you are into this kind of stuff and you realize like, oh shit, yeah, I have a lot of stuff going on, like, or have had a lot of like, wow, like with that sign, like whatever your polar opposite sign is, whether it's in Vedic or Western, then, you know, definitely these videos are going to be intriguing for you and interesting and beneficial to you to be patient for the mana that will be received through the babbles. You know what I mean? And there are other people that, you know, express themselves and do these kind of things. I'm not tech savvy, and I'm not going to be naming shit like exactitude to kind of stuff. I'm intuitively speaking and guided, and take with it as you will. You are accountable and responsible for your damn self anyways, in regards to how you choose to live your life, how you choose to behave, and how you choose to react and perceive and all these kind of things. And that got nothing to do with me. So just so that we're clear on that, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, and so, you know, either way, so those that like the vibe and can dig it, like, then that's who it's gonna be for. Like, and if it's not for you, then it's not for you. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to prove myself to be anything but that what I am. You know. So what was I saying before? I had to pause before. I don't even know. Welcome, because I'm gonna do that a lot. But either way, it's so important. And so like the insight, like, you know, so I'm gonna be all over, I'll be jumping all over the place. And if this is the first time you're here, please understand that the more that you do tune in, tap in, turn on, that you'll see that even though in this video I don't continue to finish a certain kind of thing that I was saying, it does get continued in every kind of way, because this is a continuation process. This is something that is, that's why you should like this, that's why you should subscribe, and that's why you should just say hi and all this kind of stuff, especially if you can feel the vibe, or, you know, want to understand the fact that, you know, you're here, you're drawn to here. And even though I can babble and stuff like that, part of the disciplinary like part of this is is learning that temperance is needed, patience is needed, understanding is needed. Without understanding, to understand, we must understand. To accept and understand, we must first learn our understand to overstand. But we're not going to get into that now either. But yeah, I hope you hear me okay. I'm on this mic thing, and I don't know, like, I now want like a new mic. So if you know any mic recommendations and stuff like that or whatever that is good, clear, crisp, that I can do some like ASMR kind of shit, like, let me know, because I'm not hip to this. And you can read and see all top, you know, microphones for those kind of things, but does anybody know one that actually does work good? Not one that they heard or one that they see or a bestseller kind of thing, like one that they actually know is good. Let me know. So like that, like for real, like, right? So anyway, but like for me, the polarity of in astrology have been strongly highlighted for me, especially today. And so I wrote down a lot of different things, and I want to deliver it however I'm going to deliver it, and I'm working it into it and stuff like that. So whatever. But the dynamic of understanding our polar signs and the significant role that they play, you play with your polar opposite in every kind of way in the evolution of humanity on a whole spiritually, spirit. I've been getting tongue-tied with words. How about you? Oh, Mercury is retrograde too, but you know, I'm not gonna blame it all on Mercury, but either way, yeah, Mercury. My dad was seeing Mercury today within the thing. And maybe he was meaning Mercury communication. Anyways, Mercury is retro. So don't go apeshit crazy thinking any kind of negativity in regards to that kind of perception that could be mainstream media hysteria. It is a very educational time in any kind of retrograding kind of effect of energy that exists, allowing you to really think about this, think about that, and really get to understand, overstand your own positioning in a higher octave land that's healthy, wealthy, stealthy for you. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, so that is how significant in my leveling of claircognizance, of understanding the importance of observing and having my own lifetime of experience of documentation and exploring and you know, having my own experiments of life, like conscious be me. So in my own life, I can see it's not, oh, I'm experimenting, it's I'm experiencing, I'm living life, but I'm also conscious to the fact that I'm doing this too. So I'm conscious and I'm aware as I'm going through the experience over here, and I'm trying to my best to document the process to understand, overstand that this is for educational purposes, man. And so there's a lot on all of our conscious plates when we wake up to that energy of purpose in some kind of way. And for many of us, especially if you hear on some real shit, not on the trendy shit, but the real shit, not the trendy shit. Me Too movement kind of stuff. No, the ones that you don't know life without this shit. Even if you denied it, brushed it on the surface and all this kind of stuff, like, nah, this shit ain't taught to you. Like, now you're just coming to, like, ownership of the position of how tapped in, turned on, tuned in, ridiculously so you be. And so, you know, now here comes, enjoy that shit. In your developing evolution of consciousness, you're a solutionist. So yeah, you can see the problem, you can see the issue, but now go get your tissue, heal, feel, deal through, rise from, right? Die from, but rise and then rise. Because you're the solution, you're the breed, you're the seed of energy that comes from your energy. And that comes from working on the whole shit. I gotta get to know me on a whole deeper, uncomfortable level. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable dealing with dimensions that are just uncomfortable to deal with. It's easier and easiest to just deny, to just lie and just not know, or walk away and ignore, dismiss, gaslight, right? But nah, we're not about that shit. So what's so special about the polar opposites? Is it cosmic twins? Like, did I write it down? That cosmic twins, cosmic pair. Yeah, like, right. So I don't know. Yeah, I wrote a lot of things. Some about this, some not about this. So excuse me as I look through, scan into. I don't know. But I think there was another paper. I don't know. But right, the cosmic pairing, the twins, like, right, oh right, because I was doing this little like charty thingy, like that was popping in my head, and I was just doing this chart stuff because I was seeing the correlation of pairings in astrology for the polar opposite signs, and so that's pretty interesting, right? Because right, so well, I wrote, so look at, so for those of you that don't know what a polar opposite sign is, right? Well, polar opposite period, and the meaning is the diametrically opposite point of a circle or a sphere. And you know the astrological wheel is in a circle, round and round, right? And it's also an idiom used to describe people, ideas, and opposites, right? Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it's the cosmic pairs, and they're all 6 signs away from each other, right? And so I was writing my own notes, like the stuff that I was receiving. I said, so this is just coming to, and I'm just going to be random too, but so polar opposite. So in the astrological wheel, right, is literally like if you were to see all the astrology signs in their order going around the 12 the pie chart, your polar opposite sign will be directly across from you on wherever your position is on your wheel, and so everyone has one, right? So so it's a catalyst for change. It's caring in every kind of way, no matter the reason or style of caring. So just because someone's your polar opposite sign doesn't make them just a potential for a lover. Like, you could have a polar opposite sign as a parent, a sibling, a friend, like, you know what I mean? Just trying to jump down. Hold on one second. I have only a few moments. But what was I saying? So bear with me, please. Okay. Right. So your polar opposite sign is literally directly opposite you, across from you, like very as simple as can be, you know. And it's 6 signs away from you on the astrological wheel, right? Um, and it is notorious for greatness along with disaster. And it is up to you to decide which of the two is going to be. But that's it. How can that be the solution? It's not. We must be paired here together in polarities for something greater. Because we're drawn to each other like moths to a flame. And we trigger each other in every kind of way. And we love and hate each other in some powerful way. And that's deep. I feel that. Both elements feel that. Both signs feel the penetration of the other in such a, I feel this kind of way. More so than with others. So it doesn't mean, oh, ideally, so many people romanticize that. Like, oh, that must mean that that will be my forever partner, my twin flame, or this and that, or, you know, or these kind of my soulmate, and I'm supposed to be with that person. I have a daughter that is my polar opposite. I will not be with my daughter. So no, it's not just about romanticizing the polarities of these powerful energies of dynamic relationships that are coming into our experience to be experienced and learned from. And if you up in here, consciously clear, you about the work that you put in here in yourself so that you can be your best self, always authentic and true. That be the who I speak to in this room. Everybody else good, whatever. You could be here. Eat the fucking mana, eat the fucking mana, eat the fucking mana. Good. Whatever brings you there. That's always been my, like, kind of like my motto to a person's personal belief systems when they're still stuck in a indoctrinated kind of system of belief or religion or something to that extent where they feel it's righteous and right and the only, you know, whatever. But they're on an evolutionary path that we cross paths and we have our harmony to grow together too, you know, and whatever this is going to be, even if it's momentary and short-lived to see, or however it's going to be. But there's maturity and evolution in that too, like to be able to coexist, right, harmoniously, you know what I mean? And so no matter our differences, so like whatever the case, but so it's interesting. You need me? Hold on. So what was I saying? Yeah. Mom. Right? How many of you who may be parents, or you don't even have to, it doesn't have to be a parent, just like when you don't want to be bothered or you're trying to do something and someone calls you, like, how annoying it can be, even though you know it's not a bad thing and you're not trying to be irritable or whatever. It's just like, oh. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. Stop it. And I gotta go soon too, so I'm either gonna do a take two or pause this and then continue later, Gator. Whatever the case may be, however I do, you know what I mean? I'll see how I feel about it. But right, so I don't know. I've just always been extremely fascinated with polarities and polar opposites, and even within my infrastructure, even within my being, like I have polar opposite signs in my chart trying to work together. Like my moon sign is polar opposite my rising sign. You think that not to be conflicting? It makes me understand better my position of like when you have so many options and you can't just choose one because you see all the greatness to all that there could be and all the potential, you know what I mean? And all the infinite possibilities. And like, no. Pick for me. Which is a fuck up, you see, in terms of humanity, because most times people with polarities that are like that and they can't decide, or they find themselves stuck and they give the wheel away. Like, here, give the wheel to God, Jesus, my sister, my brother, my mother. You choose for me, you decide for me. And then the shell of existence that they create for themselves, and that kind of energy of development, because of the polarities existing inside themselves that they can't harmonize within themselves. Like, understanding goes a long way in helping one to move through that which doesn't serve their healthy evolution. And it doesn't make one exempt. Right? We all special. You special. If you here, you special. You could say that you chosen, you this. People like to like overly emphasize, and feed the ego, like love bomb. Like, and I'm not saying that's not good. We all deserve to receive love, adoration, respect, and recognition. And it's not even about deserve. Well, it is, because whatever, but it's not a necessity. But it has become something that has been so deprived in our human conditioning that everyone is deprived of it, that they want it so motherfucking much that they would do anything for it. Anyways, I do want to continue this. I do have to step away. I will come back a little later and I will leave this on pause. But I do want to further explore this because I love this. So what was I saying? So I could maybe write that down and maybe continue from there, maybe a little bit later, you see, because whatever, you know what I mean? But the polarity. What about the polarities? Tell me. I wasn't listening. I do a lot of babbling and less listening. This is why the recording had to come into place. Because like, spirit was like, but you need to learn your own motherfucker to educate. Okay, I was like, okay, well, you mean I have to put my own Bible too? I can make me talk it through when nobody's listening to, and it's just like sitting here talking to myself. But do I even listen? Hard-headed syndrome, right? We all suffer. We all suffer from something hard-headed in our entire conditioned being, and it's just like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna set this free, authentic be me. But wait a minute, what does that mean? Authentic be me? I gotta go through this unconditioning of conditioning that has got me in this kind of positioning, and it's like, okay. And then we meet our polarities, our polar opposite signs in every kind of way, you know what I mean? And it's just like, ooh, they trigger me to activate what? Yes, harmony too. So you see what I mean? How beneficial these polar opposite signs can be to our evolutionary have of conscious being. So woke, it's not a joke. And we're here and it's like we poke. We the sleeping bear, so don't poke the sleeping bear. Wait a minute, I am the bear. Roar. All right, but yeah. Me tengo que ir. People always assume I speak Spanish, but I do not. Only sometimes when I'm a little bit like, if I drink or something like that, and all of a sudden like Spanish comes through my linguistics, and I'm like, oh, maybe she does speak Spanish, one of the personalities in there. But the one that is pretty much present in the everyday, ordinary, she's like I heard gringa, whatever that means, whatever. You know, she don't know anything, you know, except little stuff here and there. But I read it fluently well for whatever reason. And I'm a soul having a human experience. What's language anyway, but yet a barrier that has caused many to be so fucked up internally for what feels like eternity. And here we are, the 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 shakers and the makers and the bakers of the new world order. Don't say that. Then that means some Illuminati shit. Oh, stop it with your hysteria. Anyway, me tengo que ir y yo vengo para atrás ahorita porque yo tengo que ir. And if you don't like it here, you don't have to be here. But if you love it here, thank you. I love you. From a distance though. Thank you. Okay. Hello, welcome back. Well, welcome back hours later. And hopefully you hear me clearly, you know. But these are always like tests. Like the fact that I left it holding where I last recorded to continue hours later when I return. It's like the time for that recording was before. And so I've sat here idle, kind of, but not idle because multidimensional is I. We are here, especially if you are tuning in, tapping and turning on with me, then you are as multidimensional and conscious as can freaking be, especially if you can even understand me in any kind of way. He's being obsessive with this bone that's making him choke too at the same time. Before hitting record, I'm gonna kick his ass. Hold on a second. Anyways, it's like planning an outfit to wear prior to the time arriving. Like, how do you know that that's what you want to wear at that later time? Yeah, I'm a mood dresser. So, yeah. Anyways, but there's something deeper happening here. So regardless of my opinion and regardless of how I feel, even how I had to get back into a groove of talking about what I was talking about a few hours ago, this is a real place of a channeling, and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, and so I gotta get my groove back. But before I hit record, I started shuffling from my dark mirror oracles, and peaceful among thorns popped out. Now we'll go to the book, you know, whatever it might be. What are you doing? And hello. Doesn't it always flow wonderfully and smoothly in our mind all the time? Like, baby, put the shade. If he moves an inch, she could be at this corner of the bed, and he could be all the way over here. And if he moves all the way over here, just an inch, like, baby. Anyways, I'm gonna get into the swing of it, how I get into the swing of it, in whichever way, the swing. So, yeah, but going back to even what I was saying from before, it always sounds better in our head, and then sometimes when we go to execute or say what we need to say or say what we think we mean to say, and or do what we have in mind to do, and it just doesn't come out the way that we imagine it to be, and it's like getting out of disillusionment of certain kind of realities and getting more out of our head still, even though we have these hiccup kind of experiences, right? And find peace among the thorns. And this whole entire video was inspired based on the energies of polarities, right? Um, you know, and how significant in astrology it really is to really get into the quantum understanding of how polarities in your astrological configuration have played in your evolution at this conjecture in this moment in your currency. And I'm fascinated by it. I'm intrigued, and so what better videos than to do than to talk about these kind of things too, because I love it. So whatever, so for whomever wants it, you come and get it, baby. Okay, okay. Because this is all pseudoscience babbles and this kind of stuff. And don't quote me on technicalities and don't be like, oh, this is free spirit talk. Okay, and you're not with it, you can move your merry way. Okay, okay. I'm gonna kick his ass and back to the bone. But like, okay, so legit, this peaceful among the thorns falling out is perfect for the babbles that this video is going to bring in um, letting you drop inside this rabbit hole of inner evolutionary discovery and insight, like to receive for you. Eat the fucking money, eat the fucking money, eat the fucking money. You know what I mean? Like for however it's gonna be for you and the way that it's gonna be for you. I'm not here to dictate that for you. Be free. Do whatever you want. Just don't involve me. Okay. Now that we're clear, boundaries setting clear, which is interesting about the polarities, my dear, because in essence, too, like if you want to look at it as a reformative program, like if the polar opposites of all polar opposites worked in harmony for the greater good of the all, and they actually put to productive use the understanding of what's happening there with the caring of polarities, that the mission at hand that is of like nobility, right? Is quite whatever. But oh, I just got a whole spectrum of a whole bunch of downloads of a whole bunch of other stuff kind of too, because it's just like, okay. um, it's just like that's the polarities in me, right? Never being able to decide something or choose something specific, one thing. If I had to choose, what's your favorite color? All my whole life I've been saying I don't have a favorite color, I have a mood. I have colors I prefer at certain different times, at different points in my life, but I like all colors equally the same. Like, I don't know what to say about that. Oh, you like this color too, but it's ugly. That's to you. It serves its purpose too. He looks at me. Oh, be his ass. Neil. Right. So, anyways, so where is it? peaceful among the thorns. So I just find that to be damn true in regards to the duality of the polarities and the challenge and the mountains of life if you choose to embark on a healthy, wealthy, stealthy partnering with your polar opposite, whether this be within yourself, like for example, how I said I have polar opposite signs in my own damn birth chart in different planets opposing the other, like, which I'm trying to explain in terms of like choosing a color, right? Like, how do I choose a color when I see the beauty in them all? I just, whatever the case may be. And so when you can really be open to your own heightened sensitivities and consciousness levels and stuff like that, to be open to experience yourself in a fascinated light would be helpful to your development for this leveling of evolution right now. So dive in, because this rabbit hole here is infinite, you see. And so even when I start speaking about one kind of thing, we in another rabbit hole, you know what I mean? So you can keep up and follow with me, because if you can't follow with me, oh, well, hit rewind. And you know what? You can go into it in your own divine space and time. You can slow it down too. If I speak too fast for you, there is a slow down button I heard, right? I think from Alice over there, once upon a time in one of her videos too, she said there's a slow down button. I was like, oh, really, that is? Okay, so there you go. Reduce it down to the speed that works for you, you know what I mean? But I'm going to do me, right? Which is what I encourage all. Even when you don't like me, even when you shade me, even when there's whatever nonsense existing between your own psyche and you really want me to let you know what it's all about, then sure, book me. You know what I'm saying? So no, most people are not ready to have that conversation, but that's why you build up the resilience that you do, because authentic be you. If you hear authentic be you, you're the glue in every motherfudging thing. And the sad part is, right, that most of your life you probably felt less than, or not that you feel less than, but people have tried to make you feel less than, or exclude you, or freaking criticize you, ridicule you, shame you, fucking lie on you, like blasphemy too, like try to hurt you. This is not what this is all about, or whatever the case may be. But we're talking about the polarities and the lessons of understanding for our overstanding, so that we could get with the high commanding and manifesting and the alignment that we truly desire to want to be in. Be nice. No, it's the sister's turn. Andromeda and Shiva. Anyways, but this is an revolutionary, unique motherfucking space to be traveling in. Meaning that you too are as unique and cute as can be. There is no replication of you, you see. People try to do you? You can't do me. You gotta be vibrationally unmatched to even try to imitate or display that you think you can fool another in some kind of inauthentic way, right? I guess that's just for the hate, right? But whatever. See, See, hang with me and we're gonna make it so funny that you're gonna flip them like fleas, like ticks. You'd be like, come here, don't make me crush you. And it's not even. Neil, please stop. I gotta take away all his phones. Hold on. It's not me being cool and speaking to something in the morning. Hold on. Like, how do you heal in the environment that which made you sick? He's obsessive compulsive and he jumped back off because I forgot I took and moved the bones where he cannot access them at this moment in time. And so he's disoriented, pacing in circles. And now wants to go back to where I put him in the first place. Hold on. He will be 17 years young in October. And he has dementia. So he legit forgot, jumped off, went back to the spot I removed him from. Like, on some short-term memory loss. So then circle about and be like, oh fuck, I forgot. That was real quick. Anywho, lots to learn from the energies about, and I will say this about today. Today, especially with the children, the children are wonderful to observe because they will tell you what's going on in their behaviorisms, in their mannerisms, in their play, in their demeanor. Because sensitive be them too, and their heightened levels of sensitivity too, because before learning how to speak and articulate and learn how to speak this language that's taught to them, they first meet their inner lens. And so think about the power of silence when you're actually listening. You know what I mean? So anyways, yeah. Oh my goodness, I'm killing it all. You go get that. You sure don't start screaming. Andromeda. Vicky, stressed her out. She's overlooking. Andromeda, she stressed you out. That's all me. But you're a little wild. I know it's lunar eclipse energy, full moon kind of energy. The moon looks absolutely stunning this evening, the other evening, and all this kind of stuff. Just throwing that out there. What were we talking about? I don't know. What's up? How you doing? You're just here chilling and evolving, because this is the sacred space that just got that kind of energy for your synergy, for your ministry, okay? Whatever it be for you. I'm not here to tell you what that is for you, and I'm not telling you how to do what you do when you do, but we're here to connect, and connect we shall, and eat the fucking mana and live your life proud. You know what I'm saying? Forgive, especially you, because who else got you like you got you? And if you don't got you, then you got shit to worry about too, because hello, you need to step back into that divine alignment. Like, hold up. Let me check myself at this motherfucking time and see where I'm misaligned so that I can get into my right state of being. And that's the beauty of polarity. Okay, I'm going to overly emphasize and I'm going to be dramatic as can be, and I'm going to be as expressive with my linguistics, and that's just me. But what's it gonna be? Right? So how do you heal in the environment that which made you sick? Right? Peaceful among the thorns. Check your polarity, because they have much to teach you about learning peace amongst these thorns. So like, I just want you to understand how deep polarities is. That means every astrological sign. I just want you to understand this, okay? I want you to at least expand further with your vision of the meaning and the concept, because I'm gonna take you further. What you do with that is what you do with that. I know I'm gonna keep going personally. Like whether you hear or not, once this camera's off and I do and I be how I be naturally, there's nothing to prove to any mother fudging body. And the next time you catch yourself getting all defensive, offended, and all this kind of stuff, just check your inner being. What's it revealing to you? You know what I mean? It's going to be in its polarity, the catalyst, opening up a portal of change for you to walk through. And our polar opposites in astrology, they're here to be those perfect partners in crime. If you can get through the challenging aspects too of the squares combined, when these two polarities do prematurely or immaturely do connect and have yet to fully align within their own inner being. Just think about the motherfucking toxicity that polarities can bring when they're living and acting. Like he forgot again about the fucking bone, jumped off because he got dog dementia. Okay, he got dog dementia. He forgot again. They jumped out, came out here like all hasty. You know, he gotta be patient and calm too, because I taught him how to breathe, because you know their breed too get like those little heart murmurs and all that kind of stuff too. And he'll breathe heavy when he acts like that, or if he gets too excited. But again, and this one wants to play fetch. My dogs don't fetch, my cats do, okay? So, anyways, now you want to go back over there. Hold on a second, please. Oh boy. So, I was saying this before. I was saying whatever it is that I was saying now that I totally forgot about. Like, anyways, if you follow through and you're new here, thank you for tuning in and rabbit holing along. What did I say I was going to help you to my next fandom? Okay. I just hit record as soon as I could and without thinking too, and got so distracted with the freaking drama with this animal kingdom over here that I'm like, what was I saying? Which way did it go, George? But how was I going to help you further expand in thought and sight to understand further for your own inner sight? We call upon back that which is perceived forgot, because the mighty be we know a lot. Hey, what was I saying? Oh boy. Oh, almost have it. A little piece of it is there. Like it's like the tip at the tip of the tongue. I can see something. Almost. Okay. Oh, talking shit, lost it again. Hold it. But this is how it be. For those of you who feel a lack there of discipline in certain kind of disciplines, or thinking that you're not doing enough in your own spiritual development or evolution because you don't practice something that you think you should be practicing more of. And granted, we should be learning all the time and being open to that evolution and that kind. But, you know, the most important thing that we should learn is ourselves, so that we can really learn to communicate with ourselves the best way that we can, so we can really know the lines of communication that work for our system. And so that's what you're doing. You're doing it out of like compassion for whom you are and the journey that you're on, and because you want to have the best journey of your own experience. And you realize that in your conditioned experience, there were a lot of parts of your journey that you weren't granted a part of, and some stuff and stuff like that. But there was a lot of shit that you didn't ask for, that you didn't want, and that you had to deal with and rise from and heal from and deal with and all this kind of stuff. And so now this part of your evolution is like standing up for yourself, speaking up for yourself, learning to like heal where a mofo ain't sorry, or like having to work through, or how do you heal in the environment too, that which made you sick, right? Like, what is the solution to this? Like, has anyone ever sought out the equation of like, how do you not heal in an environment that made you sick when this is the environment that made us all sick? You get what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? And if you're perceiving it in that kind of way, so it's like being this card, peaceful among the thorns, and then it goes for me into the topic kind of what this is all about, even though it goes all over the place. Like, it goes all over the place because it's like a training exercise boot camp, okay? That's all I can say right now. So awesome for those that follow. You know what I mean? So great. Because you got to weed out the weak. You got to weed out the ones lacking or coming in like whoosh in sheep clothing. I don't like to use animal references for not so great people, because I love animals. And I work with animal, both in etheric spirit land and real life. Right? So the animal kingdom is something that I connect with, you know, naturally, and so it's a part of my spiritual evolution, revolutionary journey, and so I honor that path too. And it ties in just real closely with all the things that I kind of like I'm into and do, so it kind of just rolls. It rolls. I don't know. It's like, so anywho, right? In order to transform anything completely, right, it must be it must be, I had the word and then my cat distracted me, but it's okay. It must be addressed, it must be identified, it must be understood, it must be understood, right? For you to formulate your solution to overstand and move forward, right? Most times when people can't move past a certain situation, it's their inability to deal, cope, accept, or, you know, and I'm not, again, like saying, oh, boy, like, we're not gonna go tit for tat. Like, you keep that shit for your own kind of like channel at that. Like, if you wanna, you know, ask questions and like maybe you have something that you're dealing with or would like assistance with, like, you know, like that would, some kind of advice and things like that that would be helpful to you. But to go tit for tat in terms of like, oh, what about for this kind of situation or this kind of situation? Listen, we all have our own growth, individual situations that can be fucked up, that no matter what, we need to rise out of, through, moving forward positively, hopefully too, in the most healed aspects of our highest of selves, operating in healthy, wealthy, stealthy ways. And period. And if that's not the path that you choose, that's cool, right? But this video, you're not going to watch through. So I'm not talking about it. For those that's trickle in for other reasons. But anyways, what was I saying? A lot of things. So that's what happens here if you're new here. A lot of things are said in different kind of ways, any kind of way, and take where it resonates for you. And if there's going to be a lot of stuff that fly over your head too, because I have a lot of you that, like, when you do speak to me and contact me, a lot of things resonate with you in certain kind of ways. And then there's a lot of stuff that you know is really deep, and you know that you have to listen to in a certain kind of conscientious way that you are acknowledging that you're not even equipped or ready for and to even absorb. You know what I'm saying? And that's the fact that you even the ability to be able to identify that in yourself and be like once it gets to a certain point, it's like overwhelming, like, you know. So that's telling you where you're at, like, in terms of like work through what you just got through too, and let the other stuff fly over your head if it must. It's going to be here for you, available whenever you do need it. You know what I'm saying? So, right. So, anyways, but the polarities are so important. I know, that's what I was saying to you. I'm like on the verge of losing it. Like, I almost had it. Sorry, guys. Gotta wait a couple of more minutes. But no. Okay. So for the moment of mind expansion, just showing you how deep this astrology polarity can go. Allow your mind to just let go. Girls. What are you doing? Her sister. Okay, so, because this is cosmic, this is quantum, this is deep, okay? Right. So, let's just think about how massive this is. Ah! Oh my God. Andromeda. Right. Okay. 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 I'm not going to assume I know your understanding of astrology, nor your concept of astrology, nor your preference of astrology, and what you relate to, understand, or know about astrology. I'm just going to speak freely, and you take with it however it will resonate for you. But in astrology, I'm adamant that you are more than one sign. I've been saying this for years. All my life. And I like to know everybody's sun signs too. And most of the population is hip to at least their sun sign, and most of the population follows Western astrology concepts and sun sign associations, which is fine. I have done the same thing too. When I was a little girl, I had a choice to make. Did I want to be a Sagittarius or did I want to be a Scorpio? And then I sat down there and I became judge and motherfucking jury. I read everything about Sagittarius. I read everything about Scorpio. And I sat there and I resonated with the one most Sagittarius. And I was like, this is jovial, this is jolly. And even though others' perceptions of me are more scorpionic, it's very interesting. But anyways, I made a choice. I made a choice to follow Western astrology calculation for my own birth chart, but I am at a different plateau of evolution in my own evolution. Please be advised, and please do know that there are more than one and two astrologies. There are numerous, and they all stem from different aspects of history that you can Google, you can research, you can read about, you can learn about. I would advise you to learn for yourself wherever you're interested in. If you're interested in, I try to tell people, don't get so caught up in the mathematics of astrology if that overwhelms you, because you be like, oh, this orb position in this like house of planet, and like get all so caught up in like the terminology and the meaning of every single terminology. Just listen to, just read about the aspect. Hey, stop it. Be nice to your sister. Andromeda, Shiva. Hold on. So, whatever. I don't even know what I was saying. But back to the polarities of things and the mind expansion bit of it, right? And that's just to really, like, so how I said, even within my own being, right? Everybody has their own astrological configuration, right? And that creates a astrological blueprint that can be formulated based off of these ancient formulas, right, that exist, whether it's part of conditioning implanted in our society and our humanity and our life experience and our conditioning and all these other reasonings of how this can come to be. You know, nobody's talking about any of that kind of stuff, okay? Nobody's talking conspiracy theories, none of this shit. This is if you're into astrology and all this kind of stuff, and you are part of your own revolution of an evolution, and you about that life, then this will be for you. This is going to be informative too, especially for insight and like just self-collaboration, self-elevation, self-evolution. Like, do with it as you will. Like, you know what I'm saying? But best believe you got to go through the Bibles to receive the eat the fucking mana. Eat the fucking mana. Eat the fucking mana. Right? So, Shiva. Hey. What I was saying even before all of this that I didn't complete, especially about like even earlier today, and I could just imagine how my morning is gonna go when I'm teaching with the kids, because one thing I will say these last 2 days, the high energy in the atmosphere and making everybody a little extra chatty. Chatty. Even if you're not talking to anyone, chatty. You have a lot to say. Beautiful. I encourage that in every kind of way. But it's like a extra surge. Hey, of energy. Hold on. So just about the twins, Andromeda and Shiva, they are astrologically, whether it be Vedic astrology or whether it be Western astrology, they're Aries. Their sign when they were born, they have strong Aries in their chart, and they're both alpha female cats, although I guess Andromeda would be the more alpha of the two, just for her ability and dominance to overpower two, although they both are the same. I don't know. Anyways, she was kind of like a loner cat. Like, she likes to, like, she vibes out a lot by herself, and she's obsessed with me. So she's all about me. what we hear and stuff, but she also is all about herself too. So just think about it as an Aries like cat. They just be energized, especially like in certain kind of astrological things that are happening, which we have this like, you know, a lot of these planets that are retrograde, and then also this lunar eclipse full moon that just passed in. You look at the sky, it's like absolutely like stunning and gorgeous, whatever the case may be. And my guts be just wild. And Ebony, the tuxedo, she's like their foster mother. But she's like she has her moments, and she's very feisty, and she's very she's the alpha cat of all three. And I guess it just comes with seniority kind of, but her and Andromeda, like, you know, I don't know, but Andromeda like just respects her. The animal kingdom, when you listen, you see the sovereignty of harmony in coexisting, even when there's different energies wanting to exist at the same time, you know? Anyways, so yeah, sorry. But this energy is quite intense, and so it shows up in my portal household. So whatever. Anywho, what was I saying? Oh, mind expansiveness, right? In regards to this astrology stuff, and really grasping it of how like beneficial it can be to you to really like just process a portion of the information received, to really like dive in and want to dive in deep for you, you know what I mean? Like you're like, wait a minute, I want to see, I want to know this information too, so that I can understand it better too for myself, and start really in you can use investigating, you can do researching the same way that you would research a boy you like, to the females out there that get obsessive compulsive when they like somebody. And the same thing to a guy that will make all the effort in the world to be something he not in front of a chick that he like, just to bag the chick that he like. I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying, in the 3D world, like, I don't know, but the same effort given like to things that end up teaching you harsh lessons in life, like it's now turning to that quantum wisdom of how I'm here to assist myself in my own evolution and space. And in doing so, I realize that even though I'm learning as I experience it for myself during these times, because we're not exempt from evolution and having the human experience that we're here on, no matter our soul's evolution or positioning or ranking that humans want to always give something, because it's a conditioning. Is it really real, or is it something created to fulfill what? Right? Okay, but for mind expansion purposes, right? Welcome. I'm so thankful that you're here. For those of you that are here, and for those of you that can really appreciate the itafakimana that's here for you, because either way, even though if whether you process the information or not, the thing that I rest content in is the ambiance of healing energy that is here, whether you process it or not, and the fact that that is what you receive, no matter the reasoning of why you find yourself in this place here with me. That's all the breed of seed that I need. Satisfy me to know that I am being as authentic as I can be in this reality that I perceive. And this is how I'm divinely led, guided, and protected to to be, or I think, you know what I mean? It's the mind fuck of the century. The simulation of life is what? But anyways, that's not what this is about. So, but what this is about is the polarities, right? So we're going to talk about the expansiveness of thought here, of really understanding the significance of polarities and how beneficial it would be to you to learn yours. I'm only going to speak here from my own personalized experience, and I'm not going to go like textbook style and be like, oh, this configuration here, and this planet here, and this meaning here, and oh, yours must end your this, and no, thank you. Even though people will still call sometimes my communication know-it-all, like kind of stuff, like maybe how I deliver it or how they receive it, you know what I'm saying? Because all I'm doing is speaking that which I want to, as I feel guided to, when I want to, without any resistance. I've worked diligently on being able to feel that free in order to speak for me. I don't need a spokesperson, you see, nor do I need any judgment. You know what I mean? So, block out there. You know what I'm saying? And so, the more that I, too, get into my own empowerment and steadfast, like, environment of, okay, and comfortable in my own skin, which has been my public journey on my YouTube channel, getting comfortable recording for YouTube. The first 2 years in all my videos, I must have complained the whole time because I would say to you, I don't want to be here. And now, in this state of evolution that I find myself in now, and I just giggle at the part, even though sometimes I could still take really long to hit record because I'm like, not like in a complaint, but just in a idle position of too much thought. That it's like when you are an overthinker, then you overthink yourself into a stupor where you don't even do anything, you know, that kind of thing. And that's another part of conditioning, you know, getting out of stagnation and making the movement that's needed. That's the challenge being brought to the surface. That's not the easiest to discipline yourself to do. Stick to, stand by, especially when you're the only one. You know what I'm saying? It can feel like a life on the run or like you're the only one. So this position of my own personalized comfort in my own evolution, I know it serves a revolution. It is part of the solution. Fuck anybody that thinks different. Hop the buckety off. Respectfully. Still. Right? So, anyway, mind expansiveness. Thank you so much for being patient through my babbles. But, right. So, okay. Where will we start? There's just so many. Please know that where I start is not the beginning, nor there is any end. Okay, it's just information, my friend, that you can put into the compartment of information that registers for you, that makes it helpful to you to utilize in your own now time. You know what I'm saying? Okay, and that's gonna be different for everybody. Everybody in the club getting lifted. Say the song. Everybody in the club getting lifted. Everybody in the club getting lifted. Everybody in the club getting lifted. We in the club getting lifted. Everybody in the Be free, darling. It took a long motherfucking time for me to even freestyle or sing freely without any ounce of care as to what anybody has to say out there, to just be that free. It feels good. Getting back to the astrological mind expansion. What's up, please? Whatever you are great in and free to be great in without any resistance, you create the energy that gets shared into the ethers, whether you want to or not. It's energy. You create it. You are your own energy of currency. And healing that, balancing that knowledge, consciousness, awareness, for many is part of the challenge encountered throughout their life in various forms, in different ways, dimensional in every kind of way. But there is much to be learned from each and every experience that brings about your opportunity to create something for yourself from this experience. So what's it going to be? And many, I don't like to say most, and I like to say many because we're so infinite and it goes beyond that. Like if we're infinite souls, like that's infinite possibility. And so to limit it with by saying many and most, but to explain it for the conjuring that it is, right? Awareness, it needs to be expressed, and this is the language we have. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like that. Like, so don't hold so crucially, like tightly to the language that is even spoken here about anything. It's just here to be the conduit, the conveyor of channelings that it's flowing naturally into being. You know what I'm saying? So it's not to hold tightly to that which is said. It's to grow from that which is said for your own betterment. And your own betterment is the betterment of us all, period. Never mind the how and blah and it's energy, which is the polarity and the beauty of the polarity, especially in astrology, and how powerful that is. And the polarity is within your whole entire being and existence, which does exist, whether you're aware of it or not, should be desired to get to know much more by you. I'm not judging and I'm not saying what you should do, but the fact that this is a portal opportunity of inner sight, of Listen deeper than what you think you understand. I realized one of the conditionings of implants that have been implanted into societal behavior for those heightened in sensitivity and much more aware than others, and how the influence affects them in a different way than the, let's say, shoot that be asleep, that allow every creep to creep and in gestate. Wait, what's the word I'm looking? Gestation. um, what time? It doesn't matter what time it is. Like I'm just like oh, fart, brain fart. I'm germinate. Too funny for me. It doesn't have to be funny for you, but you also, you don't like it, you don't have to be here too. You know what I'm saying? So that's for those that are watching for other reasons and talking about me. Ah, talk about yourself. Hey, start liking you so you can stop being a crab apple too, okay? Start liking you so much that you don't give a fuck about what the fuck I'm doing, saying, or being like. Turn that into productivity and evolution for you by giving yourself the same amount of effort and attention to heal through what you need to feel through and deal to so that you can evolve. You know what I mean? But whatever. Wish you the best. Crab apple. And see, it doesn't even mean what's a crab apple. For someone to get really mad. She called me a crab apple. What's a crab apple? A crab and an apple. You're actually pretty cute. So act it. Okay, crab apple. But whatever. Taunting, right? So the energies are no longer able to taunt the ones that want to taunt. And that's why they're not. That's for something else. But whatever. Anyways, those are side notes. For whoever took that pocket of eat the fucking mana, you know what I mean? And anyway, the polarity, right? And the mind expansiveness of just really understanding the dimensions of infinite portals of opportunity you have to infinitely get to know yourself better. Because trust, I have been intrigued by astrology all my life. There is not a day in my cognitive human cycle in this lifespan, in this multi-dimension that I am conscious and woke to, in this portal of dimension that I speak upon, even not the portals I traveled through and connected with and tapped and turned on, tuned into. No, I'm speaking about the one that I am activated on, where I am a human vessel here that I am conscious and woke and accountable for, responsible for, and stuff like that. No matter the dimension I travel into and be a part of or observe or whatever the case may be, the one that I'm activated to right now, you know what I mean? This dimension of reality. What was I saying? No, for real. Come on, I should do live so that y'all can remind me of what I'm saying. So I can just go back to it instantly. I started becoming too conscious because, again, heightened sensitivity and awareness, consciousness, and stuff like that means like part of like me understanding my own growth cycle of being able to record and the uncomfortability of recording, knowing that others could watch, would watch, eventually, you know, whatever the case may be. is my intuitive ability to tap into the energies that do, and the ones that I'm connecting with too, from whatever time span they come into while recording, could be flustering, too much dimensional awareness at the same time when you're trying to focus and do something that is like what you're doing, you know what I'm saying? So that's what was happening when I was talking, because part of like where I'm at too is part of waking up is becoming aware of where you tapped out. And sometimes that takes a lot of figuring out, or just epiphanies to hit, or like, okay, I gotta get hip with this shit. I gotta do what's right for me, best for me, like where you're no longer in a denial kind of spree or whatever. It requires you to be accountable and responsible, like, you know, in that kind of way. Houston, there is no problem. But I will be the breed of seed that is needed to just continue this uncomfortable process of exposure. Which brings me back to the YouTube video that I posted about the lunar eclipse, and it's all timestamped too, about all zodiac signs and whatever comes up for them during this lunar eclipse, full moon experience, and the messages for each of those zodiac signs, which brings me back to the polarities of it. Let's just stick to the topic at hand. Stop distracting me, stop making me laugh, and stop doing all that, okay? Breathe. That feels good. Okay, hold up. Let me breathe again. That felt good too. You mean breathing helps me to calm the fuck down when I get a little bit overwhelmed because I'm paying attention to everything in town? You know, so this channel will help with that too, especially if you are heightened sensitive to all the energies around you, and coping mechanisms might be the challenge for you in terms of dealing with humanity too, even though you are a humanitarian in every kind of way, and you're meant to and sent to do a lot of like angelic earthly kind of things, like worker type of energy, and evolutionary be your thing. Like anybody that loses you lost something great and grand, and like whoa man, I take it back, you know, that kind of effect. And you're about your evolutionary rise and whatever that means for you and your journey in your own life, and you're not about that fuck shit vibe or that evil eye or that like deny. Like, you're not about denying, or you're done with denying, and you're addressing every issue as it comes up, when it comes up, how it comes up for you, and you're respecting and honoring your system too. And that's beautiful. And I know how challenging that in itself can be, because best believe I do understand that in that development of you that is doing all that too is by your fucking self. And I know how that too can be like a sucky hell, because sometimes you don't even have an outlet of another soul to share that kind of evolution with, because you're the only fucking one. Do you accept that now? Can you stop looking for someone else to connect with when you're the only one? Granted, the award is that you do have others to connect with, and there are connections to be made. But that condition factor of you're meant to be saved, that shit is self-sabotage in every kind of way. But anyways, the polarities here that we can learn from in astrology, my dear, right? I really want you to understand how deep this can be. I'm going to describe it individually, and then I will also describe it partnering and collectively, and in whichever way it gets communicated from the conduit that I am and stuff like that. So, stay with me. But okay, individually, right? Like, I can speak from my own experience of understanding it on a whole deeper perspective, of understanding that I have polar opposite signs in my own birth chart. So what does that mean? So just think about the conflicting energies of like understanding that you are more than one sign, right? You are more than one sign. So you can find this information out by knowing your birth time and finding out your birth time, so that the calculations that need to be made for Western astrology, Vedic astrology, or whatever astrology you desire to connect with, that's up to you. But I infuse both because I find the information provided for both are beneficial and apply, but it depends on the leveling of experience in your life. Many people, when they look at me, think I'm in my fucking 20s. That's great, thank you. But not. Double that. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I'm not just speaking from age perspective, because you could have soul perspective and not have to learn the amount of lessons that some other souls have had to encounter or experience. So the evolution for everyone is within their own evolutionary experience, and that is not for us to pick and dissect and look at about other people. Our focus should be on our fucking selves, you know what I mean? And the more that you get into that self-revolutionary focus, the more your purpose aligns in itself, that you see how it intertwines, how it infuses, how it works. And it's just like, oh, okay, I am being of help. Yeah. Finally, when you put yourself first, you become even more powerhouse energy that's unfuckable and indestructible, no matter what's going down in town. You know what I'm saying? So it's becoming peaceful among the thorns, and I just find that to exist in perfect depiction of the polarities too in astrology as well, right? So individualized. There's again, I'm not going to assume to know your leveling of understanding in astrology, so you can go and where you have a question mark here, you can comment, you can put in the comments anything that you want to ask or anything that you want me to further elaborate on. And if I could, I would, and if I want to, I will. You know what I mean? But I'm not rude. If you do comment when I get to it, I will respond to, but whatever it is. But if not, you can use your smart technology and get to researching, get to learning, get to observing, get to reading, get to enjoying the process of your awakening discovery that reveals itself to you in pockets of information that you are open to receive. The more you open, the more you receive. You know what I mean? So you're working on these things. And so that's a process in itself. So being compassionate towards our own experience and being patient about it, and not feeling rushed or behind or like you're missing out or you're losing time, that's just an illusion of fear that doesn't serve your evolution. You know what I mean? So to get cognitively clear would be the wisest for you to receive what you hear. That's intuitive, you know what I mean? And nobody that is outside of you receives that which you receive. And so to expect anybody to get it too about what it is that you have to do or what you do or how you receive and the messages you receive and the way that you do, would be foolish to take personal when everybody needs to be learning their own shit. It would take a very wise counsel, a very evolutionized soul, a very evolutionized human, right? And it's gonna come with age, and it doesn't mean that everybody that is older is wiser. No, that don't mean that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is those that have applied the lessons to be learned in their active daily fucking life are going to evolutionize. You best believe that be right, no matter the motherfucking age that they be. And the longer that they do it, the longer that they're set free, and the longer that they develop this kind of sanctioning of authority that is just mastery, and that's just period. Like, you just can't hate on them. Like, stop. The amount of effort and time someone has put into their own evolution, and because you just start on your journey right now too, and then you want to crucify and condemn them too because there's somewhere you're looking at it from an egoic point of view that they're ahead of me in some kind of way. Like, fuck out of here with that bullshit. This is a multi-dimensional reality. It's not about being ahead. It's about being where you're at and working on that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna start in. But right, this mind expansion of polarity top of understanding it. So every sign, there's 12 zodiac signs in both Western and Eastern astrology. They're all the same in both Eastern and Western astrology. The only difference is the setting system of mathematical components that configure the time zones, I guess, of how things really go down. So it creates different mathematical equations and calculations that determine someone's signs differently than one another, but they all have similar systems, just different computations. Like, if you want to look at it like that, like, you know what I mean? But that's like the religion war, you know? Like, how are you gonna fight war with roar? And so people always feel like they have to choose one over the other. That's conditioning too. That's a conditioning societal environmentalism that has been instilled in your system to falsely register certain kind of perceptions to be a certain type of way that are influenced to you in that kind of way from your environment. And if you're not conscious and woke to that which is conditioned, and you're altering it with your consciousness by identifying that which is being brought up to you, and then finding your personal solution to how you feel about that too, and how you're going to do what you do in regards to that. If you're not all about that and doing those kind of things, then you're just cycling and you're just like a robotic sheep. You know what I mean? And those people are not here. Those people are not even making an effort to be here. So if you're here, even no matter the stance or place of where you be, you are on your evolutionary journey, whether you can understand me or not. You're still receiving healing mana in any way. And what can I say? Like, you'll be back another kind of evolutionary day, and you'll be like, I understand what you're saying. I'm like, I love you. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But okay, so we're more than one sign. So, and understanding that simplified. So within your birth chart, you have different planetary, you have different, whoa. Whoa. And then we're gonna have a part 2 to this, okay? So because I have to wrap this up too. So we're gonna leave it as we do, and I don't care if you don't like that too. Like, oh my god, you didn't finish half of the shit you were saying. Subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell. Participate if you want to elevate and also coordinate the type of things that I speak about. because your participation is only going to motivate and inspire me to keep going the route that you want to lead. So what the hell? And if not, I'm just going to be spiritually inclined to listen to my own divine align and do the videos as I desire to do them at any motherfucking given time without any dictation from anybody outside of me. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to lead the way, then participate. And if not, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? So whatever. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at in my evolution. You like it? Guess what you can do? That's where I'm at in my evolution. You hear? And two, like, getting into the groove of you, like, that's pretty dope too. So, anyways. Right. So, what was I saying? Right. So, in your birth chart, so most people, when right, so what was I saying? I got really distracted. And then a phone call came in. 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Strange. Stranger things have occurred. So, embracing astrology in our conscientious efforts to understand what the fuck is influencing or a part of our own genetic makeup code, humanistic DNA, whatever the fudge this is, but it applies in some kind of way. Like, you ever had automatic birth chart made for you, and based off of your calculations too, you get this birth chart that's sent back to you. And I've been arguing with birth charts that were made for me from either computer generated birth charts and also personal ones that people have taken the time and effort to put together for me in both Western and Vedic astrology. And I will, as a evolutionist that I am, and spiritualist in every kind of way, and yeah, I'm into mysticism and esoterics and all that kind of stuff. I will adamantly stand behind and say, don't ever get a freaking birth chart and take every single thing that is configured for you or written for you as motherfucking law about everything in regard to what it has to say about you, because some of that shit could be the influence of that kind of planetary composite or not, doesn't necessarily make it your reality. Okay, so there was tons of shit in it, and I had to purge the ego, and I had to purge the trigger, and I had to purge the catalyst of epiphany and beliefs that were going to grow me and help me to further understand, like, my own composites, right? I'm just gonna keep calling that. I don't know why I keep hearing all that, but that's how I'm calling it. I don't even know what that means. But in my quest for more evolution, and you can just even understand evolution in forms of pockets of epiphanies that you might receive. And even if you may not receive them as often as you would desire to receive them, maybe by identifying them and the experiences that you do have with them, that will be helpful to you to help manifest more of those to you by the acknowledgement that you do to set that in stone for you. You know what I'm saying in regard to these kind of things. But I had a dream of Snoop Dogg. Woke up Snoop Dogg inspired. It's like, okay, thank you. Thank you for your your wisdom. Okay? Celebrity spirit animal totem. What is your celebrity spirit animal totem? Oh my god, celebrity spirit animal totem. I don't know what I mean by that, but whatever. Alright, so here, mind expansion in terms of really like grasping the how much you don't know that exists about you personally too, that you can extract from your own well by just following the promptings of your soul that leads you synchronistic, helping you to live your life authentic and bold and truthfully to you, and aligning you with your pockets of mana and truth in 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 creations of these opportunities that are presented in pockets of space that allow you to put into practice more so that which you choose to bring to the surface. What were we talking about? Oh my goodness. Celebrity spirit animal. But really, we were talking about polarity. Okay, I didn't forget. Oh, mind expansion of concept. So, no matter your preference, no matter your go-to affiliation in terms of astrology, or maybe you're just stumbling across it and keep like it keeps being brought to your attention in some kind of way, and you happen to just come here like for real, like oh my gosh, like I keep trying to just go this way, and spirit keeps pulling me this way, and grabbing your attention in weird, eccentric kind of ways that spirit can only be the one to bring to your attention because it's unique. It's your unique blueprint. Like sometimes, think about it. Like you have a humor to your inner self that may not fly with everybody else if you were to share it live. So those are the kinks of life, like learning the expression of your being. And then if you can help yourself and your entire being to cooperate with itself, realizing how multidimensional you are in existence, and the more that you awaken to the sense of self, different compartments of you will light up. And when you always find the eagerness and curiosity and excitement to want to discover more about you as it presents itself to you. And I'm here to encourage that kind of development too. Like before I support you in chasing another person, I'm gonna ask you to chase yourself. You know what I'm saying? And if you've done that already and you're still trying to chase somebody else, I'm gonna ask you to chase yourself again. You know what I'm saying? So right. So you're more than one sign. And most people associate if they're associating with astrology, they associate astrology like most humans, right? Sheep humans, most humans, when you bring up astrology, they just know their sun sign. They don't really follow it, but I just sometimes read their horoscope, right? Right. Those are superficial aspects to astrology. I'm not, oh my God, I'm saying anything mean. Anybody triggered by me saying it's superficial is just because they got no depth to them, and I'm the catalyst of change that opens up an opportunity for them to choose for themselves if they're triggered by it, to then transform that for themselves so that they don't have to be triggered by it. You know what I'm saying? And that got nothing to do with me. So, right. So you're more than one sign, but most affiliations with astrology is just the sun sign. So even just understanding that every sun sign has a polar opposite. So it should be exciting to say, whoa, I want to learn about my polar opposite. And then I want to think about all the experiences I've had in my life now with people that fit that polar opposite person, astrology sign. Like, how many encounters have I had absentmindedly about this polarity experience that I actually was experiencing without knowing the astrology factor to it? It's really exciting. Like, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, this makes sense, right? Just even in the sun sign dynamic, right? But then understand that you are more than one sign, okay? Inside, so in astrology, the astrological wheel in your birth chart composite, I'm just going to try to simplify this as much as I could. In your birth chart, there are planets in our solar system. So this is what the astrology is going off of, the planets. Ooh. And I see spawns. No, I think there's another one coming. Okay. Okay. So I need to blow my nose now. I'll be right back. Okay, so there are planets in our solar system. So in astrology, there are planets in our astrology solar system, following the same planets that are in our solar system. And all the planets that are in our solar system in astrology mean something. So just like the sun, right? The sun in astrology is what most people know, right? Which is whatever your birthday is, and whatever sign that falls under, and most of the human population, unless otherworldly and other kind of spiritual, then follow a different pattern of astrology, which is the Vedic astrology usually. And those tend to be more of the minority followers and or astrologers, even though they're both the same. But I'm just saying in terms of trending popularity, most sheeples follow Western astrology, right? And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with either one of them. I find all knowledge to be valuable, and what you make of it for yourself will be what you make of it for yourself, and how you can apply it to yourself in your life, and how you can make it collectively right. Like, that's gonna be all on your design. Like, you know what I'm saying? But either way, so In astrology, it's just simplified versions, okay? In astrology, you may already know this, and you're like, all right, that's what I'm about. Temperance. Okay. Right. Even I be met with that temperance bitch, and I'm like, I just want what I want, when I want, how I want. What's the problem with that? Sometimes a lot of things. Right. Sometimes a lot of things. Okay. All right. Novocaine. Then you need Novocaine. We don't want that no more. Okay. So we just want to be healthy, wealthy, stealthy, and that's the promotion here. So, your triggers here, great. Let that be the catalyst of change and transformation that is needed from you, by you, that can only come from you to do what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, and I say that with the utmost respect to your soul's journey and experience. With compassion and empathy, I sympathize with that which you have maybe suffered through and in and be or experience, you know what I'm saying, you know what I mean? But there can be time too that you just have to rise for you and want to. I stopped seeking helping people like excessively that did not want to be helped. That was draining for me. Just because you see it and you can solutionize it and it's in part of the experience doesn't necessarily mean that you're supposed to actively, physically do something about it. You're the conduit of energy. It starts with your energy. And that's the magic you bring. But we're so tied to a human conditioning experience that we think in physicalities and we think we gotta move everything in order to bring forth some type of transformational change. I encourage living symbolic in every kind of way because as within is done out, and that's what it really be all about. And so that anything that is in creation or existence as of right now has been something that has been long brought about, and energized. It's not new. It's just brought to the surface. It has created enough traction to be seen by others other than its creator. Anyways, right? So all these planets in our solar system, like sun, the moon, I did write stuff down and it's really late and whatever it takes to read, but whatever. Mercury, Jupiter, Mars, Pluto, Saturn, Uranus, Venus, all these planets in our solar system. So they also have a place inside our astrological birth chart, no matter which astrology we follow. And so each of these planets represent a certain portal of characterization or meaning behind it that represents a certain aspect to our selves. So, like for instance, our sun sign, right? I'm just going to go very general, okay? Is typically our outward characteristics, what the world sees from us, what we are to the world, whom we are in temperament and personality, too, kind of, in worldly kind of 3D world experience, right? And that's our sun sign. We're more than our sun sign, right? Damn, Skippy, you're not one-dimensional. You got a whole motherfucking bunch of dimensions to your whole entire being. Hello, wakey wakey. Here's the shroom you were missing in your life. you don't need to take shrooms. I am the shroom. Welcome. Right, so okay. So then you have, for instance, your moon sign, right? I always reference the moon because the moon is fucking important. Okay, like top two, top one. Pay attention to your moon because your moon's going to reveal to you your emotional habits, system, um, element, way, outlet of expression, every kind of way that has more to say to you than the sun sign, who has this external role that no matter what the other stuff is happening, going on, the sun is always going to be the sun itself. It's like a mask. It's like the avatar composite. It's a role. But your moon moves that role. So you could either be in harmony with your role or you could be in disharmony with your position. And oftentimes we fluctuate between the two. And so in astrology, it would be helpful to learn what your moon sign is, because your moon then falls, it could be the same as your sun sign. That happens. Some people have double signs in their astrological chart, which makes it an even stronger affiliation with the characterizations of that particular sign that is associated with this particular person and their energy. Because your emotions, your energy, your emotions, how you express yourself, how you receive others that express to you, how you're able to emotionally cope with certain realities too. You know, your astrology sign there, like for example, so in Western astrology, I am my sun sign, my outward external blah 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 is Sagittarius. Right? My moon sign in Western astrology is Pisces, making me a very sensitive, even though Sagittarians can be dramatic, they sometimes, even though they can be sensitive too, they are sensitive, but they're very dismissive about sensitivities because they're so fiery and positive, or like that overly positive outlook and aspect of handling and doing certain things, that they're very dismissive about a lot of treatments and a lot of things thrown their way because they're just trying to do the right thing. Those that are in that alignment. I'm not saying every such fucking Terry does the right fucking thing, because everyone makes mistakes. So stop looking for an argument to be in disagreement with somebody else. If you're here to do that, hop the fuck off and like really go see a therapist, okay? So anyways, so what was I saying? Okay, so your moon sign is important to know, right? Then you have your, what else? Your Mercury sign, right? I can bring that up just because Mercury is retrograde. You have your Mercury sign. Your Mercury sign is all about how you communicate, how you like to communicate, where your strengths in communication, your weaknesses in communication, and this will be it could be the same as your sun sign, because that happens too. Like we said, there could be double, triple signs in your chart. Again, you would have to do your chart to know your sign. But Mercury, what's mine? Fudge. What's my Mercury sign? I can't recall at this precise moment in time, but it's not the same as my sun sign. It's something different. So in understanding the different composites of astrological configuration and learning what they're all about will definitely be insightful and helpful to you on your journey to really come to a better understanding about your own compositry. So like in Vedic astrology, my sun sign is Scorpio. My moon sign is Aquarius. Now, when I infuse the two, understanding it from a dual perspective, it's like I team up the two sun signs, Sagittarius and Scorpio, together. They two different elements as well, fire and water, both very deep, very philosophical in certain kind of degrees, and both like to get to the truth and authenticity of many kind of things, having to work together, passion fueled, and create the elixir or fixer that was needed for the balancing elixir that is my own formula. You know what I'm saying? So learning my own system and navigate is interesting, and then remembering that each of those planets also fall into different houses, and every house means something different and represents a different aspect of also life that we encounter, experience, and have. And those houses have their own rulers, which are signs in themselves, and or gods and goddesses, whichever belief system you fall under or are infusing or whatever. And then each of those houses, which have their own place and also position, shares it with a sign that is all yours based off of your own mathematical astrological equation that sits in this house and has to live there. This is as simplified as I am trying to make it for you to really understand the depth of how deep in exploring you can really go in so many different avenues of life, and this one just so happens to be astrology, right? So I just, the reason I'm overly emphasizing the different positions, planets, and meanings and all this kind of stuff, I really want you to understand then on top of that, the polarity. On top of everything else in between, of all the differences that you would have to get to know, depending on your leveling of intrigue or desire to get to know all the different placements and meanings for that for you in your own birth chart too, and stuff like that, and astrology too, and not just horoscopes, right? What was I saying? Right. Then the deepening of that is even within yourself. Like before you even go and interact and intermingle with other outside energies who also have their own astrological composites, soul composites, DNA composites, human composites, like all these different composites and multidimensional realities of encoded memories and energies that do exist. But whichever one you're waking up to, that is going to be your currency. That's the one we're focusing on. You know what I mean? And this is this reality and making it the best reality for ourselves, no matter our conditioning, experience, or external stimuli that comes in and like wants to try to dictate your alignment or truth or life path in some kind of way. And you know, if you're here, you're not hip with falling victim one, and also being a tyrant too, and also not being misled either, and also working through your traumas too, and also doing what's right for you, that you realize the greater good for the whole, and so getting into that alignment and truth. You have a lot of progress to you. I think you're cool, right? But okay, so in astrology, right, on top of all that, now you got these planets, you got these houses, you got these planets ruling these houses, and these signs inside these houses, sharing these houses and positions. And then you have every single planet and house and position having to intermingle with one another, because they're all parts of the avatar that is you. It's a lot of encoded information too, on top of the conscious that is you, that is awakening to learn the development of your truth, and what all of this is going to be for you, mean for you, do for you, and what you want to do, you know, and why, right? So so now, even more so, now knowing all of this, different planets, different houses existing within your own birth chart system, you know that every sign has its own polar opposite to learn from. So no matter your sign, no matter your understanding of your sign, you have so many of them existing in your chart that has information to reveal to you, that the more you grow into the information here for you, the more you'll also explore and see the polarity of that position to that you be. Because in order to be whole in anything, you have to have all its parts. And how can you be complete with something while missing its opposite component, or and not having understanding or compassion or empathy for it either? So it's like this infusion, right? But so now you have all these planets, all these houses, all these signs in your own system working together or not working together. And so every sign has a polar opposite, period. So in that itself, so every sign has a polar opposite. Every birth chart has a planet representing a different characteristic and aspect to you, to your whole composite true too. And all those signs can be different too. And all those signs have polar opposites too. And then all of those signs have planets too, and rulers too, with meaning too, that are representations of you, whether you're conscious of it or not. And all have polar opposites as well. And depending on your consciousness and your awareness to that which is going on within you, will determine a whole lot of shit, right? But also, all of that being said, every planet has to form a house or a shop or a castle with every house and every ruler, where there is another sign in, And those signs and those rulers and those planets have to intermingle with other planets, houses, and rulers within your own being. And some of those signs that fall into those positionings might be polar opposite from each other. Like, for instance, for me, one simple one is my rising sign and my moon sign are both polar opposite each other in both Vedic and Western astrology. So in Western astrology, my moon sign is Pisces and its polar opposite sign is Virgo. And my rising sign is Virgo. And in Vedic astrology, my moon sign is Aquarius, and my rising sign in Vedic astrology is Leo, and Aquarius's polar opposite sign is Leo. That's just a simplified version of all this intermingling going around, and just this infinite option presented to you of opportunity to continue to evolve too in the knowledge that you accrue and learn from too, because you're the breed of seed that is needed here at this time to be the representation of the energy that is created, seeded, and needed, that other mofos just don't match, don't vibrate themselves to. And the polarities and the polar opposite side contribute to this massive part of evolution as well. And I want to talk more about that. But I gotta go sleep. Because I gotta wake up. It's already 4:05, and I gotta wake up in 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm probably gonna hit snooze at 4 times before I can't hit snooze anymore and have to get my ass up to go teach. So because I do these things, as I do these things, I gotta be conscientious and loving to my vessel, knowing that even though I feel enthusiastic and I want to be here and I'm excited to be here and all this kind of stuff, I do need to rest. And I know how to give myself that. And I know the amount that I can give myself to pushing it to my own limit. And I need to get from that. So that's what I'm going to do. Before I start tongue twisting, tying, and saying other languages too, and say, what you say? So I appreciate you all hanging along. The Peaceful Among the Thorns. We're going to finish with this kind of song for all polarity, what you guys bring, the polar opposite signs, just so that you know what it means. You bring the peace among the thorns. And so although every polar opposite sign is going to be presented with its benefits along with its challenges, the objective here is to be less combative and more building towards balance and harmony, because the polarities have everything that they need to breed and seed to the other polarity that is in search of that missing component. And for whatever reason, each polar opposite sign, whether, and again, it doesn't have to be boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, lover, like sex and all this kind of stuff. This can be polarities. Like, we gotta be realistic about a lot of things. Like, this could be boss, employee, this could be freaking mother, child, father, son, father, mother. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so, then you have to also understand too that, like, for instance, like, all the planets that exist within you with their own sign too and their whole own house and ruler, and when you're interacting with other people too, they have their own signs and own houses and own rulers that are engaging with you. And so those could be polar opposite too. So if you don't know a person's to, let's say, a person's Mercury sign, which is a communication sign, right? And that's not something that most people share because most people are not there. And most people, when you say what sign you are, they tell you their sun sign. You know what I mean? And it's most likely in the Western traditional astrology, right? And so that's cool and that's fine. But most people are like, hey, my Mercury sign is blah. Let's say your Mercury sign is Gemini. So that means your polar opposite sign is Sagittarius, right? So now, let's say you had combative energy or challenging energy with a fellow coworker, and you happen to learn later on in life that your Mercury sign is Gemini and there's a Sagittarius. And you're like, oh my God. And you start reading about it and you're like, that was, oh my God. And so with the polarity, they're the presenters of opportunity of solution because they got the magic stick. They got the remedy for the other polarity. And there's just an attraction factor that draws the two to naturally be drawn to the other, no matter the dynamic of the relationship. Again, it doesn't have to be a sexual relationship. It could be a monogamous relationship. It could be a parental relationship. It could be a working relationship. It doesn't matter. I hate labeling. I'm just trying to give as many overly communicative examples as possible that pop up into my mind so that it can register for those that it's going to register for. And be the visionary, see a breed of imagining that can communicate such concepts that are not easy to articulate or communicate. Whatever. Sometimes I do it real good, sometimes I'm just like, whoa, did I even make sense? I still post it, I still share it, and I still put it out there. And it'll be for whomever it's for. I served my purpose in creating it. So either way, and so that's another mind-blowing aspect to polarity. So to not get hit with the polarities in your own astrological life is to say you don't want to get rid of your own strife or aggravation in life because you might find that the most challenging people or the most like harmonious people in your world might be that polarity and you're like, oh my goodness. Or you might learn the polarities between two people, like you can have two friends that are the same sign and now you're getting into this and you learn that they're your polar opposite. Both of these two friends are your polar opposite. But both of these two friends are completely different too, and the same sun sign and whatever it is you need. And you have totally two different entirely relationships with each of them individually that are so different, you know what I mean? And it's because of the other astrological configurations existing in your chart. And meanwhile, you're learning dualities of one that works and one that does not work, or you know, whatever it may be, because you are the peace among the thorns. And then this is number 26, and that equates to 8. And 8 is that moment of practicing your faith. When all else can feel lost, or it's been a loss, or where you're just fucking tired of the same old thing, or you're fucking just exhausted of battling and combating and whatever the case may be, or feeling in the environment that which made you sick, you just want to break. Can I catch a break? Can I catch a fucking break? Like, you know? And for me, the number 8, as a life path number 8, realizing that the challenges that I'm asked to rise or learn from and stuff, and the exhaustion of can I catch a break? kind of victimization that you also have to rise from for your own elevation, because for sure that's not peace. If you're like, can I catch a break? You have no peace. You know what I mean? So it's healing in the environment that which made you sick, which is like a trick question for the world. Like, how do you heal in the environment that which you sick, that which made you sick? How do you heal in the environment that which made you sick? You have to heal in the environment that made you sick. So they present the question as though you can't, but the solution is in that you can. And the peace that you seek to receive, the more you seek externally for that which you believe and know that you deserve to have, the more disappointment you will encounter on these lives to be dependent and codependent upon that which should never be given that much power over you. It's not here to judge or cast or throw stones and stuff like that. Here, as I wipe the coal out of my own damn life, I'm here to encourage you to be true to you, to rise to your own occasion too. And I'm only going to present the things that interest me. And so if you're with that, you know what I mean? You can join me in all or any in every one of my platforms. But it's for evolution. But eight is great. 8 is like, for me, I hear warrior spirit, meaning even when you want to fucking give up, you don't, and you give it your fucking all. And now you're in a different position, having walked through the valley of the shadow. Wait, I walked through the valley of the shadow. I'm saying it wrong. I should not be quoting anything, anyone, anytime during any Mercury retrograde season. Not even myself. But do write things a lot of down just for your own evolutionary health. But as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, fear no evil, peaceful among the thorns. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. Fear, false evidence appearing real. Evil, spell it backwards. Let a mofo live. Right? So I do want to talk more about these polarities and how beneficial they can be to you. And I want to go through each of the 4 opposite signs in the zodiac, which are actually working down with Daniel, how actually, though I know them, whatever. So I was just doing all these other chart thingies, and I'm not really sure of understanding. So polar opposites, you got Aries, Libra, Taurus, Scorpio, Gemini, Sagittarius, Cancer, Capricorn, Leo, Aquarius, and Virgo and Pisces. And then let's not forget, if you know or not, I don't really know. I even might butcher what I'm going to say. But there is I think this lunar eclipse. Oh, the lunar eclipse, Scorpio fix. It's on a duality mix of polarity. So any lunar eclipse of any motherfucking kind of thing, when you think about the full moon flowery effect, letting go, releasing, relinquishing, and bringing forth that which is a new beginnings too, and the transformation of that from that which was old, right? Or like this phoenix rising. kind of like bold, right? And Scorpio being as deep as it is, and the lessons that of the polarity of like of Taurus and Scorpio together as well, like right, the the balancing act between the ability to create like the harmony is the polarities, the astrological polar opposite signs mission together to find out which is what is challenging and making it harmonious. That's the ideal. Doesn't mean it always happens. It just means that's the ideal. It's like learning to communicate for real in a healthy, wealthy, stealthy way. Because when you create this energy, which is your energy of compliance and harmony, what you're doing is you're setting that gas, that matter out into the ether, shared universe, and you're creating these ripple effects of waves that are nourishing the collective in that kind of way to grow evolutionary in their own kind of way that is supportive in that kind of way. So don't ever think that your work is not needed nor received or valued. You might be in a generation full of egoic, lost, self-centered, freaking me too syndrome, trendy, wannabe follower, kind of escapist from reality and devoid of freaking real emotion and all this kind of stuff, type of realities and persons and things like that. So this is why your evolutionary worthy work is necessary, needed, and appreciated by those that will appreciate it in the time that they do, even if it's not in this lifetime too. The work that you do is evolutionary, revolutionary, and so it's fucking appreciated. It's needed, and it's rare. Right? So the access of learning, right, that can be achieved when we dive in deep to different aspects to reality multidimensionally and learn how to be in the world but not of it. Learning to, like, especially like with this Taurus Scorpio access, right? The Scorpio lunar eclipse energy balancing the material and spiritual needs and values of whom we are and what we are about. That's part of the Taurus Scorpio dynamic of power team couple, that when they unite their fight together, this quantum evolution, their material and spiritual prosperity, it's like magic. So this lunar eclipse has truly shifted a lot of things that are coming out into existence now. And back to what I was saying earlier about the chattiness, like everybody's been chatty, which is good because a lot of third chakra clearing that you have worked on too for you has benefited us all. That everybody's talking now, everybody's expressing now, everybody's wanting to balance the material and the spiritual part of their lives so that they can have stability and emotional security in this lifetime and experience that now in healthy, wealthy, stealthy ways, right? They believe to create, right? The ability to create productively and harmoniously and objectively and responsibly without being so destructive, you see, or toxic, you know what I mean? And so that's the work between the polarities to strengthen every resolve, solve every riddle, and partner with their partner in crime and help humanity. Anyways, that's just, whatever the case may be. So either way, or 15. 415, 9, 10. 10 is all about new beginnings, right? So welcome to our new beginning. Thank you so much for tuning in, tapping in, turning on. I hope it meets you wonderfully well as a catalyst of your own evolutionary well that lives to tell, and may you find the courage to be everything that you are, you know what I mean, and continue to come back here to use this opportunity to like this video, to subscribe to my channel, to support me on my other platforms as well. I'm Enchantress, ENCHANTRESS, on Instagram, and also Witchy Utopian on TikTok, and Gypsy Utopian on Snapchat. I am Enchantress Gababa on Spotify, Anchor, and YouTube. All the information that you need in regard to connecting with me one-on-one. If you want to book a one-on-one reading with me or a session with me, it's tailored, customized to your needs, specific to your needs. It doesn't have to be with tarot or oracle. None are needed for our time together. So you just free consultation to see if we are a right match for one another. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to act like I can give you something that you need that I don't have or want to give. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just as real as it can get. So it's either we can or we will, we do. But either way, I'm here for you in the way that I'm able to be here for you. So if you're interested more in that too, you can go directly to my website at witchyutopian.com. Either way, all the information is going to be in the description box, and also in my bio and all my other platforms. There's always a master link that is the master link to all links, that has every link inside its link, that connects us on every single multi-dimensional platform of the metaverse available for you and I to further connect on. So if you're with that, cool with that, and hip with that, that's awesome. And I thank you for your loving kindness and support. I wish you the motherfucking best on your evolutionary journey. If you're with the messages and the stuff that I bring, I appreciate you and stuff. And if you're not and you're still here anyways, then you really are. You know what I'm saying? No matter what reason you convince yourself about that brings you here. You know what I'm saying? And to those that this flies over their head completely, but for whatever reason they're intrigued and they use this for, like how I've been told that somebody uses this to go sleep. They listen to my videos to go to sleep and they're okay. I don't know how to process that information, but like, yeah, I have a hard time going to sleep, and whenever your videos come out, okay. Whatever floats your goat, right? So, however that be. Listen, I'm not here to dictate that path for you. I'm here to do what I am aligned with and doing, that I am divinely led, guided, and protected to do. And, you know, I'm cool with that. So either way, thank you so much. I think it's like for real. But yeah, to be continued. This is to be continued. This is to be continued. Okay, along with other things.